Welcome back to a best of 5 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg between two teammates. Look at that. Proudly representing the Shopify Rebellion on their main bases. Now first off, in the top right hand corner, with the red Terran SCVs, we have none other than Byun. And all the way far in the bottom left of the map, with the blue Zerg pieces, we're looking inside of the main base of a Lambo. Now, I've been digging for Terran versus Zerg matchups, because I know a lot of people have been asking. There haven't really been that many, honestly, Zerg games in general on the new patch just yet, although, well, at this point, I guess the patch is like 2 weeks old. It's a little funky right now, because there's just not a whole lot of Zergs competing at the highest level. And I guess the few that are considered to be at the absolute highest level, say, for example, I don't know, this guy called Cyril from Finland. Cyril has not really participated in any tournament just yet. So I'll keep an eye out. Of course, as soon as Cyril games are available, I will be casting them as well. Make sure you subscribe if you're interested so you get notified as soon as those do go out. But for the time being, I have found what should be an excellent Terran versus Zerg. Byun, of course, a previous world champion of StarCraft 2. Honestly, Lambo has been an absolute top-tier competitor from the European server for years now. He's just been overshadowed by both Raynor as well as Cyril. And, well, it's for the simple fact that they have been a lot more successful, especially in offline tournament play. I feel like, though, a lot of that has to do, not just so much with raw skill, because Lambo is ridiculously good, although maybe these other guys are also, you know, right up there, but it's also very much so a mental game. Being good at, like, offline tournaments is insanely hard. I feel like that's one of the things that has always separated Cyril from the best. One of his nicknames used to be the Night King. That was before the final season of Game of Thrones. Back when it was still considered to be cool. Anyways, Cyril is really a cold hard killer. And I feel like that really does help. Being able to shut down, you know, human emotions. Very effective. Either way. Command center right over here on the low ground for Byun. He did open up, of course, with that double Rex. We are on Talisman on map number 1. I like this map a lot. I think it's one of the very best that we've had in recent map contests. This one gets the Loco seal of approval for whatever that worked. I think it's very fun. These rocks over here, actually. I'm a big fan of these rocks specifically. This little wall off, the skinny mineral fields. There's so many different ways to expand. So, for example, you could go and just expand conventionally if you want to. Lambo, though, has decided to effectively keep these rocks up for now. And then really take the right side of the map for himself. Reapers are putting in a little bit more work, though, than we really would like to see. 2 drones for the time being is not too terrible. It's mostly also all of the lost mining time and all the rest of it. Now, I guess some of these golden mineral fields are gonna make up for it. It is, by the way, just a good old 8 mineral field base. For some reason, there's 5 over here and then 3 over on the right. Usually, that's the norm. We have 6 over here at the front with a rich Vespian gas geyser. It's kind of interesting, right? A lot of the maps recently have had some different mineral counts across the board in natural expansions, but even at the 3rd base too. I've noticed that in Brood War, in StarCraft 1, bases always seem to have different amounts of resources. It does create a little bit of variety, because look, this one over here has 6. So 3 gold, 3 blue. Alright, Stimpack on the back of this. It's one of the main downsides of playing this sort of opener here as a Terran player. When you start off with the double Rex Reaper, you can pretty much only transition towards Terran Bio. Going into Hellion play, for example, is really difficult. Going into Terran Mech feels pretty much impossible. So, while I'm a big fan of the Reaper opener, especially when you have somebody like Byun microing it, it does make the follow-up very predictable. And that's what Lambo can play around right now, for example. He's decided to go for the quick +1 armor. He doesn't really need a lair with super fast Baneling speed here, for example, in order to shut down any sort of attack here just yet. He doesn't really need to get a Roach Warrant to try and, like, deal with any Hellions. You turn into a bit of a one-trick pony here as a Terran. Although, of course, there's still some variety that you can go for. Like, for example, this. It's a bit odd to go for 2-1-1, and then go Banshees. Now, I believe the Zerg, yeah, did see it. We had the fake out on the green light right there inside of the tech lab. Byun faking out the Raven upgrade. Just to get that upgrade going for a little bit. Turn on the green light while the Overlord is up in the air. And then when the Overlord is gone, you cancel the upgrade, get your resources back. And obviously the reason for the Raven upgrade is that it's the cheapest one to fake. One Banshee shows up. And even though it only gets a single drone kill for now, it's already forced out Spore Crawlers in every mineral line. Well, not yet on this newly made hatchery right over here, but it's already forced out the Spore Crawlers in every mineral line because Lambo does not know that the cloaking upgrade was indeed a fake. It does mean, of course, that the Hellion production and the Medevac production here, most importantly, has been delayed a lot. We're probably not going to see any Hellions in this game, but the Medevacs are going to be here. Could have been 4 Medevacs already. Either way, though, can he deal damage with this bunch of units? And I think, yeah, the mind games here from the Terran have just been so freaking strong. Lambo keeps on guessing as to what is going to be happening next. My god, did he just win with this? Is this just a straight up execution? Lovely micro by Byun, by the way, throughout this entire game so far. GG. Wow, he just murdered him. That takes us to a Ruby Rock. This map is also pretty solid across the board. Although I feel like, and maybe this is just me, but I kind of feel like the colors are kind of washed out. It kind of feels like the mineral fields in this instance and the gas geyser and the building and all that are like on a, a different brightness level than the actual background right over here. Maybe it's on purpose, though, to make the game a little bit more readable. It's actually one of the things that is extremely good in StarCraft 2. It's something that I feel like whenever we see like new RTS games announced, whenever you look at them, usually the unit readability in 1v1 matches is not even remotely as good. For some reason, and maybe it's just because I'm so used to StarCraft and I've seen so many games, but StarCraft always seems very, very legible to me. That's probably a mix of both. Very solid unit readability, but also obviously playing and casting, well, thousands upon thousands of games definitely does help. Now Lambo getting absolutely bullied there in that first game. Never really getting his feet under him. It's one of the things, of course, that is a bit of a difficult thing in StarCraft 2 in general. The early game is very flimsy. Margin for error is tiny. And Byun honestly played that beautifully. When micro and macro are perfectly mixed, you get a game like the one that we saw just now. Curious to see if there will ever be an RTS game better than StarCraft 2. Seriously. There must be, right? At some point. Like, just as if we take, like, the infinity of time it took, somebody must make a better strategy game one day. I have played pretty much all important RTS games that have come out since StarCraft 2's release, and none of them are really quite as good. Some of them get pretty decently close. But my god, is StarCraft 2 a bit of a banger. What's pretty wild too, right, is that even if you have like the same people that made StarCraft 2 work on a new RTS game, even they are unable, obviously it's a team effort, right, but even they seem to be unable to match how good this game is. I wonder what it is. Pretty crazy. Nah. I don't really want to get into the Stormgate drama yet again. I've already yapped about it quite a bit over the last year or so. But I think a lot of us believed that Stormgate would get awfully close. And maybe if they had enough time, maybe if they had enough budget, maybe they would have been able to get there, but At the very least as it is right now, and maybe they will continue development, who knows. But as it is right now, StarCraft 2 is just so much better. I will be honest though, when I played some Stormgate 1v1, it was actually a lot of fun. It was just not as good. It really helps when you have like a decade worth of development time, right? Maybe even 15 years or so worth of development time that StarCraft 2 had. And obviously there have been time periods too where StarCraft 2 was maybe not as good as it is at the current time, but yeah, it is a bit of a banger. We're once more faking the upgrade. We're once more going for the 4-minute Overlord Scout right here. Lambo sees the green light. The green light has been disabled. Jimmy has been tasked with killing the Overlord and pushing it away. It's going to force out Spore Crawlers yet again at about 4:35 usually. They'll be here in just a moment, I'm sure, unless Lambo wants to take a bit of a gamble. I think over the last decade or so, the other RTS game that I have enjoyed thoroughly as well is actually Warcraft 3, which is even older than StarCraft 2. But I really enjoyed playing Warcraft 3. I haven't done it in a while. So difficult to get into these games too, man. I really do understand. When people ask, like, hey, how do I get in StarCraft 2 in 2025? Well, you just start playing. In StarCraft 2, at the very least, there's still a lot of low-level players too. And I'm sure you could say the same thing for a game like Warcraft 3, but it's slightly more niche. So even like the weak players in Warcraft 3, I found, are pretty darn good. There's the Spore Crawlers, by the way. Baneling Nest also here for Lambo. Yeah, I think a lot of people are ready for like a brand new game to come around and then, I mean, be better than StarCraft, whatever that means. And I will keep an eye out. I will, of course, play any RTS game that looks promising. I will say Zero Space looks very good. Zero Space has kind of gone down under a little bit, right? Like, they're not really, I don't know, as communicative on social media, or they're not really making crazy promises that they won't be able to live up to. But every time I've tried Zero Space over the last year or two, it's got real potential. Honestly, that one could be the one, but we'll see. Banshees move around the left side. No cloaking field, but we do have two of them. It's one of those funny things where, yeah, you have forced out Spore Crawlers, but now you've forced out Spore Crawlers, so it's still difficult to really get any damage done. Lambo getting the Baneling speed upgrade going here. Of course, it now provides plus 5 HP again. Little bit of splash damage right there with those Hellions firing on the rocks, killing the Creep Tumor. So this is a very quick Baneling speed upgrade, and then very quick +1/+1 as well on the back of this. This is what Zerg players used to do before the Baneling nerf came online. So now they have reverted the Baneling nerf. And maybe this strategy is once more going to be the gold standard moving forward. Ooh. He is going to be able to surround all of those Hellions here. So for about a year, the Banelings didn't have plus 5 HP. It got taken away from them. Zerg players were forced to go into these weird roach openers and all the rest of it. But now, I've noticed a lot of the Zerg players once more bringing this good old strategy back online. Lambo playing this very passively, though, across the board. Not really aiming for any big attack or anything along those lines just yet. I'm guessing he wants to go +2/+2 and then into a hive. Maybe some Zergling Baneling run-bys, but there's no Hydra then, no Roach Warren. So probably into Ultras eventually. This does require, though, a very smooth, like, 5-base economy to, like, really properly run. And Byun is sniffing this out greatly, yeah? He just sniffed it out perfectly, so the 5th base goes down. Zergling run-by is attempted here. The wall off, though, is pretty solid. Do you want to go through the depots? Well, that hatchery, this command center over here is gone. Siege tank? Ooh. We didn't actually kill the command center. Ugh. Dude, that siege tank is having a grand old time. Wow. That actually just cleaned that up. Command center lives. Didn't take any damage, really. Like, obviously, he lost a bunch of units, but that's the absolute least of his worries. I thought a mineral line or a command center even could disappear. Not the case. Oh, queens are overextended at the edge of the creep, and Byun. Man, Byun's micro is looking phenomenal in this series. He got a little lucky there with the target firing, of course, of Lambo. But this is the confidence that we have come to expect from Byun over the years, but that he's been lacking a little bit as of late. Here's another Zergling run by. Bunch of Banelings are showing up. Lambo really desperately trying to break open the natural expansion. Okay, now he's gonna take at least some eco damage. Yeah, a little bit. That one little group of Zerglings still putting in some work. 8 SCVs in total, but it's all been costly. Byun is gonna be firing up 2-2 here, or finishing up the 2-2 upgrades very soon. And this is a bit of a problem right here for Lambo. Yes, he's gone into a hive. Yes, he's gone into an armor upgrade, but he's skipping out the +2 melee. A couple infestors are coming. That's nice and all. But Byun is still putting his foot down over here up north. Eventually, this is all going to get shut down. I think, anyways. I think the Zerglings, yeah, they're going to be able to close the distance. 24 siege tank kills. 15 on that one. Actually, this one still lives. Zergling run by over here too. That's a lot of workers going down. And that's the type of stuff that Lambo has been looking for. As long as he cleans up these units eventually. Fungal. Oh. As long as he cleans up these units eventually. Doesn't lose too much eco. He still has 4 bases. He's done a good bit of damage now over at the opponent's side of the map. Okay, Lambo doing a great job getting back into the swing of things. Because of this stabilization, we're going +2 melee. We're going Ultra Cavern. And he's also celebrating with a Viper. Look, you gotta celebrate milestones sometimes, okay? Ooh! Microbial Shroud. Alright. One hell of a celebration right here from Lambo. He's managed to even up this game. Is this what we do? Is this the way forward? So real quick, in case you don't watch literally every single video that I upload. I know, I kind of upload a lot. Microbial Shroud. The big buff is that it now also reduces incoming damage from ranged units by 50%. So it used to do that already to units that are flying. But now, in addition, it also does units that are ranged. Meaning that usually the way you use this is you throw it onto the ground, where you believe that the units are going to be taking damage, and then you fight with, especially, for example, Ultraling, underneath the cloud. And it means that Ultras, and Zerglings, and Banelings take half damage from all Terran units, because all Terran units, except for the SCV, are ranged. Nice little bit of micro here yet again, actually, from Byun. Ooh, Marauder getting a nice little bit of work done. It's like a weaker version of Dark Swarm from StarCraft Brood War. Still, though, this is still a little bit flimsy. Byun is laying down the law with units that are technically quote-unquote countered. I mean, Ultra should be able to make quick work of all of this, but Byun is doing a phenomenal job just, yeah, squeezing value out of these troops. Using his phenomenal multitasking to get the job done. Lambo had great ambitions here. I really thought we were going to get to the Ultras. And then also the Microbial Shroud in the end. But Byun just a little bit too good with good old Marine Marauder Medevac Mine. Next up, we find ourselves on the Celestial Enclave. A beautiful map. A very Protossy map. Maybe a Zerg versus Terran here is almost a little bit blasphemous. For now, though, Byun is just looking like an absolute beast. It's not that Lambo playing, it's not like Lambo is playing poorly. But Byun is just destroying him left, right, and center. So far, this series has been a nice little reminder of how, fragile the early game of Zerg really is. Well, I guess even in that previous game, the mid game was looking rather fragile too. I wonder, though, what the game would have looked like if Lambo did a... I mean, this is going to sound a little rude, but if he would have microed the run-by on the other side of the map, the first big one that he did, a little bit better. When that 4th command center was completely skipped, he could have also attacked it and maybe ran a couple of Lings and Banes into the 3rd base mineral line rather than just trying to brute force everything into the opponent's natural expansion. I think that was a bit of a misplay there from the Zerg. If he would have been able to kill like 10 additional workers there from the Terran, which I think would have been very realistic, the game would have looked very different. Like, we were like 3 clicks away from that being a much more playable game for Lambo. Like, Lambo basically did all of the heavy lifting. He did like 98% of the work. And then the last 2% there was missing. It happens. Believe it or not, pro gamers are human. Except for max specs, I think. Maybe. I don't know. We don't know. What about Cyril? I think Cyril might also be a robot. There's really no way to tell. Are robots allowed in the sauna? A robotic goat. I don't know if society is ready for that just yet. Double orbital command right now for Byun. Opting to go for a very, very fast CC right there in the main base. Of course, this map is a nice little mineral-only run over here for... Or mineral-only run. Worker-only run right over here that you can use to quickly go across. There's only 5 mineral fields, so this base does run out very quickly. But if you want to go for a good old command center first, it might not be that bad of an idea. Third command center already coming up. This was started at like 245 or so. Maybe even 240. It's very quick. Certainly very greedy. Not even the Zerg player has made an additional base just yet. Oh, we're doing 2-base lair? So this has to be Mutas. I think. It's really the only thing that makes sense. So the change they made to the Spire is that it's now 150-150. Down from 200-200. And it builds quite a bit quicker. Wait. Are we making the walk of shame with the drone? No. You wanted to make an extra round of workers there first. So it's actually all gases all at the same time. The series was actually played shortly after the new patch went live. So there's a very good shot as well that we have both players just really experimenting with all of the changes. I think this was played a few days after... Well, not the first iteration of 5.0.15, but the latest iteration of 5.0.15. We had a lot of hot fixes and a lot of additional changes. A couple of additional nerfs as well, actually. But there it is. Lambo is going to be building it. Now, how much damage can we do with this? Do you still go Baneling Nest? Do you still go double Evo Chamber? Yeah, I think you have to do at least one of the two. The problem is that you kind of run out of gas if you get both. So for the time being, it seems like we're just going to go for Baneling Speed. And then all of the rest of the gas will probably get dumped into Mutas. But it does mean that Evo Chamber upgrades are going to be massively delayed. And already on the other side of the map, double Engineering Bay right here for Byun. We've got ourselves the good old Stimpack coming up. He's adding on additional barracks. Yep, there we go. This is going to be a very, very aggressive push right here from Byun coming up in the future. And it'll be with men with guns, right? And those men with guns have been awfully efficient so far in this particular series. There's the centrifugal hooks. And there's the Spire finishing. It's fully erected in the natural. Just like any building that you built in the natural, of course. There we go. 6 mutas are coming. Scanning the main base. Misses all the critical information. Byun does not see anything. Likewise, though, he also hasn't seen anything on the other side of the map. Hellions trying to see if they can maybe get some value before dying. Bunch of Zerglings, I think, is probably going to be about the best that he's going to get. And here go the mutas. Okay. Mutas themselves are not changed. It's just the Spire and just the cost of the Spire. So... Or just the Spire build time and the cost of the Spire. So it means that these Mutas are still just as flimsy and they always have been. And I think Byun just sniffed it out perfectly. It is the norm for Zerg to get blind Spore Crawlers, but it is no longer the norm for Terran to get blind missile turrets. But this is the counter right over here. Those Mutas have done absolutely nothing. Oh, okay. We are busting the front. Is that the plan? Is that what we're gonna do? This is going to be a Mutaling Bane timing attack? It's an awful lot of Banelings. Let's see. Send them forth. Are there enough Zerg units to be able to obtain the victory? There is a Widow Mine right over here in the mix. Decent detonation just like that. The micro here from Byun, as expected, has been pretty darn good. I think it's totally fine here for Byun. Like, he's gotten rid of pretty much all the Mutaling Bane, other than the Mutas, but a whole lot of them have died as well. Here's the reinforcements, though, showing up. Can they maybe even the odds a little bit? Look at the upgrades, by the way. 2-2 is going to be done in about a minute here for the Terran. Doesn't matter if he has no economy to fall back to, I suppose, but Marines are going to be ludicrously strong. There's another Widow Mine connecting. It also deals a lot of damage to the SCV count, but keep in mind that this is a triple CC rush from Byun, and even after losing 20 workers, not considering mule production, he is still ahead in the worker count. Those Marines are going to be so much better than the Zerglings here in just a moment. Obviously, the Banes are always going to be tough. Rinse and repeat is the only thing Lambo can really do. And I don't believe it is going to be enough right there for the Zerg player whatsoever. Byun, looking pretty unstoppable in this particular series. Or as a lot of people like to say, he's looking pretty Byun-stoppable. Honestly, absolute domination from start to finish. Just playing the good old Marine, right? Sometimes it's nice to look at the patch notes and look at all the possible new strategies that you could be going for right now. But sometimes it's nice to make the pew-pew unit with the Medivacs up in the sky and just microdose to your heart's content.